Welcome to orientation. I'm going to pull up the presentation and share it with you so that we can begin this morning's orientation. So first, I want to make sure that we are all in the right place. This is an orientation for new students to the MSW program, and this is our hybrid cohort orientation. So we have started this fall a hybrid program for students who are specializing in community administrative practice, in children and families, in health, and in mental health and substance abuse. So if that sounds like you, and you have advanced standing, then you're in the right place. You should be coming in with a BSW and have been granted advanced standing in the program. You're signing up for a hybrid program, which in this context means that you'll be taking some of your classes face-to-face in the classroom and some of your classes online. This is a 12-month program, meaning that it's full-time, and that you will be set to graduate in August of 2019, so just a year from now. Your classes will be a 16-week format, like a traditional semester in the fall and spring. And you'll have classes that meet in face-to-face format Tuesday and Wednesday nights from 7 to 9:50. This is a cohort model, which means that you'll be you'll have the same students in your classes, both in the face-to-face classroom as well as the online classroom. We've found that many students appreciate being in a cohort because they develop strong relationships with their peers that last over time and lead to networking and even long-standing friendships. So that's kind of what this looks like. If what I've said does not sound like what you signed up for, no worries. You can leave the call and email me, and I will get you hooked up with the right orientation for your degree plan. But if it does sound like what you've signed up for and you are a hybrid student, then you should be good to go, and we're just going to go ahead and continue. So if you have any questions during the orientation, I will pause at certain points to manage your questions, but most of the time I'd like to just continue unless it's something real urgent, and then there will be time at the end where I will answer any questions you have related to anything I've talked about. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. What I've done is posted the degree plans for each of the hybrid cohorts here. So this should look probably pretty familiar to most of you who have already been advised or have looked at your degree plan online on our website. This is the degree plan for community and administrative practice students. It's a similar format for all of the cohorts. So if you are a CAP student, you'll be taking 2 classes this fall in person in the classroom on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, and then you'll take 2 classes online. I do want to point out, and I'll do it using this particular degree plan to show you that you will be taking a winter semester course. That course will take place in between the fall and the spring semesters over the winter break. It lasts for about 2 weeks, and it's in a condensed format, but it will be online. This is the degree plan for students who are specializing in health. So you can see it looks very similar. The courses are quite a bit different. You will notice, though, as we move through this, that, for example, if you're a direct practice student, for example, direct practice in health, the first 4 classes you take are advanced micro practice, your direct practice and health class, you'll take your advanced research class, and your intimate partner violence class. And those will all happen in this fall semester. And if you notice, just kind of so you see the similarities, if we move on then to this degree plan, which is children and families, you can see that several of the classes are similar. So these students in children and families will also be taking their advanced micro practice class this first semester, as well as their advanced research class this first semester. So you can see some overlap here, and that's because of the shared concentration, which is direct practice. And then I think there's one more I haven't shown you, which is the mental health and substance abuse degree plan. And again, that one you're taking advanced micro practice, just like the other direct practice students, as well as your advanced research class, and you'll take your direct practice in mental health and substance abuse. So you can see all of the hybrid degree plans are very similar in the sense that they're structured the same way, and some of them share similar classes, but the difference comes in when we get to the specialty area. So you're specializing in a particular area, and you will take specific classes that are unique to your specialty. So most of you are probably familiar with the Arlington campus. Some of you may have graduated from our program or other programs in the area. If you're completely new to the UTA campus, this is a picture of the School of Social Work. We're located on the north end of the Arlington campus, and our dean is Dean Scott Ryan. Our associate dean is Dr. Deborah Woody. And as I introduced myself before, my name is Dr. Diane Mitchke, and I'm the director of our graduate programs. I did want to point out that if you didn't know this, the School of Social Work is actually in a historic building. We are in the building that used to be the Arlington High School, which was built around the turn of the 20th century. So we do have quite a history in the area, and something that we're proud of. So I hope you can appreciate that, along with some of the quirks that come with being in an old building. One of the first things I want to make sure to tell you is that I encourage you to get connected. We are very active in our social media presence. We often post about student successes, research that's happening among our faculty. And so I would just encourage you to add us to your social media milieu, and go ahead and get connected and start sharing kind of the things that you're proud of about your school. You can find the links to all of our connections on the School of Social Work main page, where you can get yourself added to all of our different pages. You can also download the UTA mobile app. This is a free app that you can download onto your smartphone, and I find this really helpful. One of my favorite things about it is the maps feature, because it helps me find buildings on campus that I'm not familiar with. Because you'll be taking some of your classes on campus, this may come in quite useful for you. It also posts different events that are happening and pictures, as well as kind of just current news about what's happening at the university level. Oops, I skipped one. Here we go. I just wanted to tell you that I think you've made a really good choice in choosing UTA and the School of Social Work. We're really proud of our MSW program, and we have been really recognized in recent years for some of the new things that we've been doing. So we're currently ranked #2 in the nation for most affordable MSW programs, and we're actually the most affordable MSW program in Texas. We're also ranked #1 in Texas for veteran friendliness. We have quite a large veteran and military population on campus, and we're proud of our role in that as the School of Social Work. And then we're ranked number 3 among all MSW programs by graduateprograms.com. So really exciting kind of about what we're doing now in the School of Social Work. We're bringing in a whole bunch of new faculty this fall. We actually are bringing in 11 new faculty members to add to our ranks, and they have specialties in all different areas of practice and tremendous research agendas. So we're really excited about where the school is headed, and I think you've joined us at a really critical time in our history because we're really doing some exciting things, and you'll get to be a part of that. So welcome to graduate school. I think graduate school is a really special time in your life as a student because for one of the first times you're really getting to explore and dive deeper into an area that you're really passionate about. The MSW is an opportunity for you to gain specialized expertise in a particular area of practice and do research and explore practice and interventions in your particular area of interest. So unlike your undergraduate experience, the MSW will allow you to really specialize and develop unique expertise that you can take then into the field. So embrace it. It's an exciting time to be a graduate student, especially here at UTA. We have a number of student support services that we offer to help you be successful here while you're a graduate student. And what I've done is I've asked Ms. Patrice Green, who is our coordinator of advising and student success, to go over all of the different support services that are available both in the School of Social Work and outside the School of Social Work in the larger university community. These are services that you pay for through your tuition dollars. And so I encourage you to really access all that the school has to offer to support you. It's our job to make sure that you are successful here and that each of you graduate successfully and on time. And so in order to do that, we have a number of resources that are available to you to assist you. This is the link to Ms. Green discussing those services, and what I will do at the end of the presentation when I send you the recording of this recording, I will also send you this link so that you can watch her discussing the different support services that are available to you. So moving on, I want to make sure we are able to have time to cover everything today and get you familiar with you know, what you need to do to get started for the fall. Many of you have probably already met with your advisor. We have 3 advisors right now for MSW students: Patrice Green, Tiara Thomas, and Mauricia Davis. If you have not yet met with your advisor, you probably have been in email communication with them to get you going and registered for classes. So if you're not yet enrolled in your classes, please make sure to reach out to your advisor and let them know that you are a hybrid cohort student and that you are ready to get registered for your classes so you can be set to go for the fall semester. I wanted to briefly talk a little bit about how to find your textbooks. This is a screenshot of the UTA bookstore. Simply, if you go to uta.edu/bookstore, you can get to this page. You'll click on textbooks and you can enter your student ID number in the window here, and it will pop up with the classes that you're registered for and the required textbooks for those classes. If you do that today and you notice that not all of the classes are showing up, or some of your classes don't have textbooks listed yet, it's simply because your professor hasn't yet entered that information through the bookstore. And I would check back again probably next week, and I would think it would be populated by that point in time. You can purchase your textbooks directly from the bookstore here at UTA by doing it online or going in person. The bookstore also has a price match guarantee. So if you find a textbook that's required for your class listed, for example, on Amazon or on another website for a cheaper price, you can actually show that to the bookstore and they will price match that and give you that cheaper price if you buy it at the bookstore. So it's up to you how you get your textbooks. I just wanted to let you know that that's one way to do it. I also wanted to share with you just a couple of slides about Blackboard. Blackboard is our course management system here at UTA. And some of you are probably already familiar with it, again, because you were UTA students as undergrads or because you came from a university that also used Blackboard. It's pretty easy to navigate, but if you've never used Blackboard before, I would encourage you to explore and do a few of the tutorials before classes start. This is the page that will come up when you click on Blackboard from the UTA homepage. You can see it has a number of kind of troubleshooting sorts of things and information about how to get started. So I would encourage you, like I said, if you're not familiar with Blackboard, to go ahead and get familiar with some of those things before your classes start. When classes do start, you'll be able to access your courses from the Blackboard homepage. You'll simply click on the class that will show up, and you will see a screen that looks similar to this. This is one of the courses that I taught last spring, and I kind of just wanted to show you what it looks like so it would be familiar to you. But you can see on the left-hand side of the screen are a number of different tabs that will help you navigate the course. And in the middle of the screen is the announcements panel. That's typically what comes up when you first go into your course. You'll use the left-hand side of your screen to navigate, like I said. And this is a picture of what it would look like when you clicked on course materials for your course. So you can see there are a number of different folders that house the different materials for your course. And this would be used primarily in your online classes, but your face-to-face classes will also use Blackboard often to post different resources. And certainly this is where you'll go to access your grades at any point during the semester. So if you dig down a little deeper and click on one of these modules, you will find a number of different links within each module. For example, readings, lecture materials, web links, discussion board links, and sometimes even additional content. So you can see that it's pretty well organized, it's pretty easy to navigate, and it just takes a little bit of getting used to figure out, you know, where everything lives and how to access that material. But I think that you'll find it pretty useful. If you do have problems with Blackboard, you can always reach out. We actually have 24/7 online support for Blackboard, and you simply just go to the Blackboard homepage and click on the link, and they will get you set up with either phone or email support in real time. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to check your UTA email. It's going to be really important as the semester gets started because this is how we'll communicate with you about important deadlines like registration, scholarship application deadlines, field application deadlines. And so it's just a really important thing to kind of get used to. I would go ahead and download your email onto your smartphone so that it becomes a routine for you to check it every day. You will automatically be enrolled in our listserv, the MSW listserv, and so we'll send general announcements to that listserv, things that we think might be interesting to you as MSW students, and again, different important deadlines and things like that. We have a number of library and writing resources that are available to assist you as graduate students. You'll be writing some papers as graduate students, so it's important to familiarize yourself with the library resources. We actually have our own librarian that's appointed to the School of Social Work, and her name is Brooke Troutman. I've listed her kind of here at the bottom of the screen. Brooke is available to help you if you are assigned a paper where you're asked to do a literature review or asked to do some research about a particular topic area and you're having trouble getting started or aren't sure which databases to access. Brooke is a great person to reach out to kind of help you get on the right track with that. The library has a pretty amazing array of resources available both online and in person at the library. It's also a really good place to go and study. There are study rooms available and group study places where you can meet with your group to plan different group projects and things like that. There are also a number of online resources related to tutorials. There's an APA tutorial that's really helpful if you're not as familiar with writing in APA style. And there are also tutorials about avoiding plagiarism. So I would encourage you to access the library and become familiar with what they're able to offer you as graduate students. We also have some writing resources available to you. We have the the University Writing Center, which is available to all students across the university. And they can help you as you're writing to look at things like whether you're making a clear argument, whether you have any kind of grammar issues in your writing. They can help you make sure that you've structured your paper in the right way, whether you're writing a literature review, whether you're writing an abstract, that sort of thing. So they can be really helpful. The one thing they aren't able to do, though, is help you with APA style. That's because they're mostly staffed by graduate students in English, and English students actually use MLA style. So to get help with APA, we have our very own writing resource coordinator housed here in the School of Social Work, and his name is Dr. Chris Kilgore. And he is really quite amazing in terms of being able to assist you with really all of your writing needs while you're a graduate student. He can, if you're having what we call writer's block, you've been assigned a particular topic and you just don't know how to get started, you can meet with him either online or in person and kind of brainstorm some different ideas and help you formulate an outline. He can also review drafts and give you feedback about whether your paper is structured correctly, whether he's noticing any kind of consistent errors, and kind of give you tips and feedback before you turn it in. He also does large group presentations throughout the semester that are based on particular papers that are assigned in your different classes. So for example, in your advanced policy class, you'll have to write a policy analysis paper. Well, he will do a presentation that is specific to how to write a policy analysis. And he'll go over the specific requirements of your paper so that you're really set up for success in writing that particular kind of paper. So I would strongly encourage you to reach out to Dr. Kilgore for any assistance you might need with writing. He's really a fabulous resource, and I think we're really one of the only schools of social work in the country to have our very own writing resource coordinator to help our students with their writing. I did want to talk briefly about licensing because I typically get a lot of questions about the licensing process and the different kinds of licenses that are available to you once you graduate. So when you graduate from our program, you won't graduate with a license. That's something that comes next. You will graduate with a degree, an MSW degree. About 2/3 of social work employers require a license. It kind of just depends on where you end up working and what your career trajectory is, whether or not you'll be required to get a license for your employment. The LMSW is the basic license for MSW level social workers. It's the one that's required for most MSW employment positions. The LCSW is more of a clinical license, and that's really for people who are wanting to diagnose and treat mental illness. So to look at the differences between the two of these a little more closely, the LMSW is available to you right after you graduate. You can apply to take the test by showing your transcript, you pay a fee, you take a quick jurisprudence exam, and then they give you permission to take the test. You take the test at a licensing center. At a local testing center. It's pretty straightforward. Some students decide to take an additional prep class before they sit for the LMSW exam. That's really up to you. We have I would say about half of our students do that and the other half don't. So that's the test you can take right after you graduate. Then you can be licensed as an LMSW. If you decide you want to go further in terms of the licensing, then you can pursue the LCSW. And the LCSW requires 3,000 hours of supervised clinical social work experience. So this is after you get your LMSW. You would need to work in an area of practice under a supervisor where you're doing specific clinical social work that's approved by the board. It takes about 24 months of full-time employment to get those 3,000 hours. And you would have a supervisor that would sign on to provide you with monthly supervision, about 4 hours a month. A smaller percentage of our alumni do pursue the LCSW route. It's mostly for students who are interested, like I said, in diagnosing and treating mental illness. So if that's the path that you think would be most appropriate for you, then it is available to you, again, if you meet these requirements. But getting your MSW and then your LMSW are the first steps to being able to kind of go that route. I also wanted to introduce to you a couple of different research opportunities. As graduate students, we really think that research is an important part of the graduate learning process. So in addition to the advanced research class you'll be taking your first semester, you also have the opportunity to pursue research outside of the classroom in two different ways. One is by applying for a graduate research assistantship. These are what we call GRA positions, and they are basically employment positions where you're paid for either 10 or sometimes 20 hours a week to work directly with a faculty member who has funding to do research in a particular area. If you would like specific information about GRA opportunities, Dr. Holly Slater in the Office of Research can provide that information for you. There is also an opportunity for you to do a thesis. I'm not sure if you noticed back on your degree plans, but I'm hearing a little bit of reverb, so I'm going to give it a second. We'll see if we can stabilize our connection here. Are y'all able, can somebody chat and tell me if you're able to hear me right now? Let's see. I can hear you. Okay, it's coming. It's pretty distorted. Yeah, I was having some distortion also. I think it may be better now. Please make sure that your audio is muted, just to make sure that we're still able to save as much bandwidth as we can. Okay, I think we're back on track now. Sorry about that, everybody. Thanks for bearing with me. So I think what I was saying was that on your degree plan, you may have noticed in your final semester, we have a class for you called Integrative Seminar. Integrative Seminar is what we call our capstone class, and that class is basically required of all students, and it demonstrates your comprehensive knowledge that you've gained throughout the program. An alternative to that class is doing a thesis. And a thesis is basically a research study that you would do as a student, and you would have a faculty advisor who would work with you to help you develop and implement a research project during your final 2 semesters in the program. So for you as advanced standing students, that would mean you would work with a faculty member on your thesis in the spring and summer semesters. You would not then take integrative seminar in that final summer semester, and instead you would be finishing up your thesis. Many students find that thesis is a really good opportunity for them to dive a little bit deeper into a topic that they're interested in really becoming an expert on. It's also an opportunity for you to develop a real strong relationship with a faculty member who shares your research interest. Just as an example, I had 3 MSW students who I worked with this summer who are all graduating this month, who completed their theses under my direction. My particular research area is looking at refugee resettlement. And so I had 2 students that were also interested in resettlement of refugees. One looked at the challenges and barriers that Syrian families have faced in the past year in coming to resettle in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and some of the challenges that they've had in that experience related to health and mental health and financial distress, those kinds of things. I had another student that was interested in looking at the role of religion in coping with resettlement. So this student looked at Afghan special immigrant visa holders and looked at how they used religion as a coping mechanism through their resettlement experience. And then finally, I had another student who was interested in food insecurity, so not refugees, but I still worked with her because I thought it was an interesting topic, where she was interested in the kinds of supports that college campuses provide to students who are having food insecurity issues, meaning they don't necessarily have money or access to food for 3 meals a day. And so she did a broad survey of colleges and looked at all of the different kinds of things that colleges do to assess food insecurity on their campuses and then provide for resources for their students. So anyway, that just gives you an idea kind of just me as one faculty member and the kinds of projects that I've worked with students on just this summer. So if thesis is something that you might want to pursue or you want to learn more about, you can reach out to me directly, or you can contact Dr. Holly Slater, and she can hook you up with faculty who share, your particular research interest. We have a number of faculty who are doing research in all different kinds of areas, and so she can probably hook you up with a couple of those to meet with and talk with. All right, so finally, in terms of one more point in this area, I know you're just starting your MSW. Oops, I didn't mean to move forward. There we go. I know you're just starting your MSW, but it's always good to look ahead. So for some of you, you may consider pursuing even further education after you get your MSW, and that could be in the form of a PhD if you're interested in having a research focus later on in your career, or a DSW if you're interested in a clinical doctorate, meaning that you want even more specialized expertise in a particular clinical area of practice. We have a really good PhD program here at UTA, but there are PhD programs all across the country, and I'm happy to talk with you about some of those and hook you up with some of our students so you can get more information about what that's like. I also think that in the next couple of years, we'll be adding a DSW program here, so that may be a possibility for you as well. So nothing you have to decide on today or even in the next year, but just something I wanted to put into your head so that if it's something that seems appealing to you, you can get more information. We have a whole bunch of student organizations that are available to students, and I would encourage you to access at least one of these while you're a graduate student here. It will really enrich your experience as a student, both inside and outside of the classroom. And it's really important just to connect with other students and develop those networks. A couple that I will point out, the Social Work Council is basically our advocacy body. So it's the group of students that actually advocate for change. If you notice something that you don't like about the school, the Social Work Council is the one that will kind of advocate to make a change or to talk with, people who can make those changes. And you as a graduate student are able to join the council. It's not something you have to be elected to or anything like that. So if you want to become a member of that, I would encourage you to do that. We have a social work health organization. We are really looking for student leaders for that organization. And so if you have an interest in health, if you, whether or not that is your specialty or not, you are welcome to join that organization. And there are a number of actually open leadership positions in that organization that I would encourage you to reach out if you have any interest in that. Students for Global Change is our international social work organization. It's for students who are interested in pursuing international social work after graduation, or simply want to be involved in international issues like refugees, immigrants here in the U.S. We also have a number of students in that organization that want to do AmeriCorps or Peace Corps after they graduate. The Gerontology organization is an organization for students who are interested in working with older adults. Again, this doesn't have to be your specialty, but if you also have an interest in older adults, this would be a great one to join. It's a really active student organization. They've got some great leadership right now, and they are doing a whole lot of great things in the community. So I would encourage you again to reach out if that's something you might be interested in. And then finally, Phi Alpha Honor Society is our National Social Work Honor Society. Some of you, because you have your BSW, may already be members of Phi Alpha, and that's great. You can actually transfer your membership into your graduate program. So if you came from another university and want to transfer your membership, you can do that. And you can continue to be a member actually for the rest of your life, because it's a lifetime membership. If you are not yet a member of Phi Alpha, it is based on your GPA. And so after your grades post this fall semester, you can apply for membership into the Honor Society. It's a great resume builder, and the other thing about it is you get to wear special cords when you walk across the stage at graduation, so most students really like to do that as well. Information about all of these organizations can be found through the advising office, or you can contact me and I can hook you up with the person, the leader that you need to get a hold of. There will also probably be information sent out on the listserv as we get started in the fall semester with meeting dates and things like that so that you can get involved. Okay, we are now at our last stop, which is field education. So thank you for bearing with me to this point. I'm going to talk briefly and give you kind of the basics of what to expect in our field program, and then we'll have a time for question and answers after I finish talking about field. So, field. We think field is a really important and special part of your social work educational experience. Because you're coming in with your bachelor's degree in social work, you've already done a field placement, so you know what it's like already. And we think it's really one of the most important parts of being a social worker and being prepared to really enter the field, because you get real hands-on experience in practicing what you're learning in the classroom out in the real world. We have a number of field staff that are available to assist you. Dr. Donetta Smith is our Assistant Dean of Field Education. Amy Lopez is our Advanced MSW Field Advisor. We also have Natalie Mangham and Ronnie Robinette. For all of you in this orientation, you will be working with Amy Lopez because she is the one that will be your advisor to get you connected to your agency and get you placed. So she's an important one to remember and to get to know. We also have an administrative assistant, Susan Terry, in the field office who can answer any kind of logistical or practical kinds of questions about deadlines or where to turn in information. And then our general field office email address and phone number is listed here too. So one of the neat things about field is that in field, we are really working to help you develop your core competencies in social work. And these core competencies are listed here on the screen, and they are developed by the Council on Social Work Education. And these are really the core ideals or the core areas that the Council on Social Work Education thinks that every social worker, when they graduate, should be able to understand and be able to really practice in their professional career. And so one of the things that we're working really hard to do in preparing you to graduate is to make sure that you are proficient in each of these different areas. You'll also see in your different classes that certain classes work on certain of these areas more than others. But by the time you graduate in the program, you will have covered all of these multiple times. And then all of these core competencies are covered in your advanced field placement. Once again, you must check your MAVS email. This is how the field office is going to communicate with you about your placement. All of you will be entering your placement in the spring, so you'll be looking for an email from the field office in September that will tell you that the application window is open, and that will be the time that you will go ahead and start the submission process for field. You have to have a grade point average of 3.0 or better to get into your field placement. And because you're starting the program this fall and will be entering field in the spring, obviously you're starting with a 0.0 grade point average. You don't have a grade point average as a graduate student yet. But in order for you to actually enter field in the spring, we will review your grades in December once grades post and make sure that you have at least a 3.0 so that you can proceed into field. So in terms of getting ready for field, you are set up because you're in a cohort to be set up to enter field with your peers moving forward into the spring semester. So because you're advanced standing, you've got that one covered. This is for direct practice children and families, of course. You'll be taking your advanced micro practice class and your DP children and families class in the fall so that you can enter field in the spring. And if you're children and families, you can expect to be placed in any kind of setting that has children and families as the focus. Typically, we see a child as the focus and then work with that family in relation to the child within a placement. So, for example, you could be placed in a school, a foster care and adoption placement, a placement with Child Protective Services, lots of different kind of family crisis, domestic violence centers, things like that. You typically will not be placed in a hospital with this placement option, as hospitals are reserved for health students. For community administrative practice students, you'll come in again with advanced standing, and you'll need community and administrative practice as a prerequisite for your spring field placement, which you are set up to take this fall. So you should be good to go. If you're a CAP student, that means that you're interested in designing, running, and evaluating programs in the community. Your focus is more on the macro or the larger environment. And so there are tons of different CAP placements that are related to public policy change, community organization, administration, lots of different possibilities. And you'll get quite a few choices when you're selecting your CAP placement as an advanced student. If you're a health student, then you'll take direct practice in healthcare this fall in addition to your advanced micro practice so that you're set up for your spring placement. And you can expect to be placed in any number of different kinds of health settings. You may be placed in an acute health setting like a hospital. You may be placed in a situation dealing with health type crises. And you may even be placed in an organization that deals with health promotion or disease prevention. So lots of different variety in terms of health placements. If you want to be placed in a hospital, this is the specialty that you'll need to be in. In mental health and substance abuse, again, you're seeing a pattern, I hope. You'll take your advanced micro practice class this fall as well as your DP mental health class, and then you'll be set up to enter in the spring your mental health placement. You will be trained to diagnose and treat mental illness as well as people who are facing addiction. So you may be placed in a behavioral health setting, either acute care, inpatient, or outpatient mental health, MHMR. We have a number of placements with addiction and recovery centers, both, again, inpatient and intensive outpatient. So lots of different possibilities there as well. No matter where you're placed, it's really important that you start thinking about how you're going to balance the requirements of field with all of the other things you have going on in your life. So I know a number of you are working either full-time or part-time while you're going to school. Many of you may have families and other people you're taking care of in addition to other kind of life responsibilities. And what I need you to understand is that the field placement that you choose, you know, it would be ideal if we could have field placements that offer, you know, completely night field placements or placements that are available only on the weekends. But unfortunately, it's really hard to find those type of placements. And so you need to go into this thinking that, you know, it's not going to be possible for you to only collect hours, for example, on the weekends or in the evenings, but that all of the placements are going to require at least some time during the traditional work day for you to be at a placement and doing hours there. So you need to think about how you're going to manage that, whether it means that you need to take time off from your job, whether you need to start collecting additional vacation hours, whether you can flex time at your work. Things like that are just things to think about starting now this fall so that you're prepared in the spring to be able to manage it. There's a link here. This is a resource that's available on the field website. It's a planning tool to help you kind of think about the different things that you have going on in your life now and how you're going to manage adding field to what you're doing and how to kind of accommodate that. And so I would encourage you to take a look at that. It's just a little worksheet for you to kind of work through and help you think through things as you begin to think about what the spring semester will look like for you. In terms of the logistics then, applying for field, we use a system called eIntern. As I said, you probably will get an email from the listserv in September that will tell you the window for applications is open. Once you receive that email, you'll go in and fill out the application and submit it. The field office will take a look at your submission and make sure that everything is complete. One thing you have to do in addition to that application is that you have to also buy professional liability insurance. And this is basically to cover you in case there were some kind of problem at your internship and you got sued or the agency got sued. This insurance will cover you in the event of some kind of issue like that. And it's a requirement of all students. There is information about it on the field website and links to different vendors that offer this insurance. It's pretty easy. It's just a couple of clicks. You pay between $30 and $50 depending on which policy you choose, and you're good to go. You submit a certificate that's then generated once you purchase it, and you submit that to the field office along with your application to move forward. The Office of Field Education will match you with an agency according to your specialty. They will also take into account your preferences in terms of geographic location, and if you have a particular interest in an area and we have a placement that fits with that interest, we'll try and hook you up and match you accordingly because we want you to have a good experience. In terms of what the field assignment placement process looks like, you'll complete your application, as I said, and then once you've completed it, the field office will assign you to an agency that they think would be a good fit for you. They'll let you know that they've assigned you an agency and that it's time for you to go ahead and set up your interview. And if you're accepted, the agency will then accept you an e-intern, and then you'll in turn accept them, and everything will be great. If you are not accepted, and don't fret, you may not be accepted because you decide it's not a good fit, or maybe the hours don't work out with what you were expecting, or whatever. If you're not accepted, that's fine. The agency will then decline you an e-intern, and you'll go back to the drawing board where the field office will assign you a new agency, and you'll go through that process again until we find a good match for you. In terms of how the advocacy process works in the field placement, you will be assigned a field liaison, and that liaison will be an employee of UTA who will kind of serve as a mediator for you between you and your field instructor. The field instructor is the one that's hired by that works for the agency. That's your supervisor, and the field liaison works for UTA. They will kind of review your all of your paperwork, make sure your timesheets look good to go. They will also make sure your learning contracts are appropriate and signed. And then they will eventually, at the end of the semester, assign your course grade. So they really serve as an important link for you. Anytime you're having any kind of issues, you would reach out first to the field instructor at your agency. If you're having trouble or there's a conflict, you would then reach out to your field liaison. And then kind of after that, if there's a conflict that escalates, you would then reach out further to your field advisor. Again, that was Amy Lopez, if you recall. And then finally, if something escalates to the point at a higher level than the field advisor, then it would go to the Assistant Dean of Field Education, Dr. Smith. Your responsibilities as students in field are to abide by the Code of Ethics, to accept critical feedback and recognize that field is a learning experience. You'll first contact your field instructor, as we said, and then consult with your field liaison if there are any problems. You'll do your timesheets and supervisions and turn them in to your field liaison. You'll also encourage your field instructor to complete their midterm and final evaluations of you on time so that you can get a grade. You'll also get an evaluation form that you can use to evaluate the agency and your own learning experience. All important dates are posted on the field calendar, which again is located on the field menu of the School of Social Work homepage. The field calendar has all the dates for when application period is open and when it closes, as well as other important dates like when you can actually start your field placement and when it ends. So, I know I talked really fast, and I know that I probably dumped a whole lot of information to you that may be hard to process, but I hope that I've given you a little bit to think about and a good start in terms of moving forward with the semester. Now I want to open it up to questions. So share via the chat feature. We'll go ahead and take a few minutes to answer any questions you might have. I'm seeing no questions. I can't believe it. This would be a first if I had an orientation with no questions. Okay, Marlon says, I don't live in the area, so will I have to locate a field placement? So Marlon, this is actually an orientation for hybrid students. So I just want to make sure that you are actually planning on coming to campus for your on-campus classes, Tuesdays and Wednesdays? Okay. So if you do not live in the area, then yes, you will actually have a bit of a different process to do your field placement. You will probably be working with, instead of Amy Lopez, you'll probably work with Ronnie, who is one of our other field advisors, and she will help you get started in terms of identifying a field placement wherever you live. I will send you personally a special email that contains some additional information about how you will go about setting up your field placement. So look for that this afternoon. Kiara says, just so I'm clear, evening and weekend hours for field are accepted, just not exclusively. Yes, that is absolutely right. So we do have a whole lot of placements that do offer hours in the weekend and also, you know, after, you know, in the evenings and sometimes even at night. But we don't have any placements that are available that are exclusively at night or on weekends. So all of our placements are going to require you to at least spend some time during the traditional workday at your placement. Even if that's only to meet with your supervisor for supervision, you know, for a few hours, that there will be some time that's required. So I just want to make sure, you know, that you understand that you're not going to be able to work a normal 8 to 5 job and then expect to do your field placement only after 5 and on weekends. Sure. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, here's one. Are there any opportunities for a stipend? So very few, unfortunately. And as you can imagine, stipend opportunities at placements are very, very competitive. So there are some opportunities for students who want to do their placement with Child Protective Services. There is a special child welfare stipend program that you can find more information about actually on our website if you click on the Center for Child Welfare. There may be a couple of other placements that offer stipends, but again, they're pretty uncommon. If that's something that you are particularly interested in, I would reach out to Amy Lopez early and let her know that that's really something that you are interested in pursuing, and she may have some advice for you about how to get started in that way. Crystal says she had trouble setting up her MAVS email, and I'm unsure who to contact to help set that up. Do you know of someone I can contact? Yes, absolutely. If you will just send any kind of technological problem that you're having, if you will send an email from your personal email to helpdesk, HELP desk, DESK, at UTA.edu, and explain the problem you're having. They are staffed 24 hours a day, and they should be able to help you set it up. Okay, I will give it maybe 1 more minute. Are there any other questions anyone has that I haven't answered? I would like to really thank you all for being here this morning. I know that at times the connection maybe was a little unstable, but I appreciate you bearing with me. I'm really excited that you've chosen UTA. I'm really proud of our graduate program, and I think that, like I said before, it's a great time to be a Maverick. So I think you've made a really good decision. It's my job as MSW director to make sure that you're successful and that you have a good learning experience while you're here. So I hope that you will consider this initial meeting as a symbol of me opening the door to you, to let you know that, you know, my door is literally open both in the physical sense here in my office, but also in the virtual sense. So if you ever have a concern or a question, or you just want to, you know, share with me something that's happened in your life or in the program, I hope you'll reach out to me because I'm excited that you're here, and I'm excited to get to know each of you. So thank you for that. I do have a couple more questions, it looks like. What about parking passes? Yes, you can go online to the main UTA website, and if you, in the search box, which is located on the top right-hand corner, you type in parking, you will get to the parking office link. You can buy a parking permit online through that website, and you should be good to go as far as that goes. Now, if you are only going to be on campus after, I think, 7, so your class starts at 7, so you'll have to look and see if that would work for you if you wanted to buy a reduced rate parking pass. I think they have a reduced rate one for students who are only planning on being on campus in the evenings. You might explore that as a possibility. I'm not super familiar with that, but I would look into it if I were you. If we are on the waiting list for a class, when will the new sections be open to enroll? So yeah, we're having a couple of issues with our online classes because we have so many students that have been added over the past couple of weeks. So what I want you to make sure you understand is that as cohort students, which you all are, you have a guaranteed spot in the classes that are listed on your degree plan. So I know it's kind of stressful if you're on a waiting list or if the class that you need is full, but rest assured we will get you into that class that you need as long as you're in communication with your academic advisor and they know that you're needing that particular class, then they will get you there and you do not have to worry. We are actually adding classes daily to accommodate the needs of our growing student body. So I promise it will be okay. I don't have a date for you right now, but like I said, it should open up very soon, if not, in the next couple of days. When our course is going to be up on Blackboard? Is there a place on the website that says what books we need for the upcoming semester? Yeah, so actually, I talked a little bit about that. You may have missed part of that. But so as far as courses being up on Blackboard, it's really up to the instructor when they want to post the class. So it may be up anytime in the next couple of weeks, but definitely your classes will show up on the first day of class, which I think is the 22nd. So if your class doesn't show up before the 22nd, they'll definitely show up on the 22nd. And that way you'll be able to access, your course materials on that day. As far as your books, you can go to the UTA bookstore, enter your student ID number under the textbooks tab, and it will populate with the books that you need for the classes you're enrolled in. So you should be good to go as far as that goes. What are internships like for CAP students? So CAP students have a whole lot of variety in terms of the types of internships that we offer for them. If you're a CAP student, it will be real important on your preferences when you're submitting your field application to indicate the type of experience that you're looking to get from your internship. So we have CAP students that are placed in administrative type positions where they're supervising different kinds of projects. We have CAP students that are placed in schools and nonprofit organizations where they're doing more administrative type supervision work. We also have CAP students who are interested in grant writing, and so they're assigned to an agency that needs them to write a grant for funding a particular program or project. We also have CAP students who are interested in public policy, and so we have legislative placements where they're placed with a sometimes state or local representative in their office to do constituency services or to do public policy planning. There's lots of different options for CAP students. Again, they're really a huge variety, so it'll be important for you to kind of indicate on your application what it is that you'd most be interested in doing. Okay, let's see. Will all the on-campus classes be at 7 for hybrid students? Yes, they will be 7 to 9:50 on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. And we'll be consistent about that for the duration of the program so that you can plan your life around your on-campus schedule. Let's see, are our placements different each semester of field, or can we stay at the same placement? You actually will stay, you'll definitely stay at the same placement. So your advanced internship is a total of 480 internship hours. You'll do 240 in the spring and 240 in the summer, but they'll be at the same organization. So you won't switch unless there were some kind of terrible problem and you had to switch. But 99% of the students that we have in our program stay at the same placement for both semesters. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap things up. I appreciate your attention. I will be emailing you later this afternoon a link to this presentation recording, as well as some other resources, including our student support services. Again, I'm so excited that you've chosen UTA and you've chosen to be a Maverick. And please reach out to me if there's anything I can do to assist you as you transition into graduate school. Thanks, everybody. Take care.